1 day, 3 meals, a snack, a couple walks, some tea. That's what an anti-inflammatory day looks like for me. It's not a cleanse or a detox, and it's not 7 things that you have to give up. I'll walk you through mine start to finish, and I'm gonna show you what's actually doing the work. When I say anti-inflammatory, I don't mean a diet that you start on Monday and quit on Friday. I mean a pattern. What's on the plate most days, what's missing, and what the body actually does with both. 4 things show up in almost every meal that you see today: fiber, polyphenols, healthy fats, and fermented foods. Those, of course, are the 4 workhorses from my new book, Plant Powered Plus. If you know, you know. But the whole point is to build a day where they show up by accident. You're not even thinking about it. So here's the day. The first thing I do isn't even food. It's water. This comes even before coffee. A large quenching glass for a thirsty body that hasn't had anything overnight and was up to pee a few times, that is exactly what the body needs. After water, it's time to actually flip the switch on. And light is the switch. It signals that the day has started. No longer do you need to be in sleepy time mode, but your body needs to know that the day has begun. And that's what light allows us to do. It's time to charge up for a great day. So I like to get outside, even for 5 minutes, but honestly, ideally more. Whether it's the front porch, whether it's a walk through the yard, the point isn't the distance. The point is just the light hitting my face before anything else hits my brain. Your circadian rhythm is the body's 24-hour clock, and it tells your immune system when to be on high alert and also when to be quiet. The single biggest signal it listens to is morning light. So I'm not even eating yet. The body needs to be woken up first. A few minutes of movement after that is exactly what I need. So my favorite is a walk around the neighborhood with my wife and kids, and I'm probably wearing my ruck vest. But you could just as easily do stretches or some light exercise, jumping jacks, squats, whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be anything that counts as exercise, just enough to get the heart pumping, get the lungs moving. So water, movement, light, no food, no phone, no urgency, none of that yet. Your inflammation varies during the day based upon your clock. We want to synchronize our watches, and we do this with light, and that allows your cells and your microbes to get on the exact same page as we go through our day. Okay, next up is breakfast, and here's the good news. I made it last night. Overnight oats, organic rolled oats, ground chia, homemade soy milk. That's the base. It soaks overnight in the fridge, so much goodness. And then I wake up in the morning and I top it off with berries and a handful of walnuts. The entire pattern of what I want is pretty much in this bowl. Oats are the fiber. Whole grains, the kind your great-grandmother would have recognized. The bran and the germ are intact. And we have the star player that you may not have ever heard of, beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is a soluble fiber that feeds your gut microbiome in a powerful way, and it gets turned into short-chain fatty acids, which are the molecules that your colon uses to keep inflammation quiet. We got chia in there. And chia is an excellent source of fiber, but also omega-3 fats, all in one seed. You can use them ground, you can let them soak overnight. You know, one of the things, whole chia goes through you mostly intact. So to be honest with you, I prefer to grind them a little bit, open them up, expose the inside, allowing you to get more fiber, more healthy fat. And then soy milk is the part that most people aren't even thinking about. It's a serving of beans. It's a legume, and it contains isoflavones, as well as a surprising amount of plant protein and calcium. I make mine at home. Soybeans, water, I got a milk maker, I got a strainer. It takes me about 35 minutes, which, by the way, most of the time I'm doing something else. It's dirt cheap, it's organic, it's absolutely delicious. If you're buying it, look for 2 ingredients: soybeans and water. Now, I like to throw a sprinkle of berries on top. Those colors that you get from the different berries, that's nature's polyphenol code. The deeper the pigment, the more the polyphenols. And then a handful of walnuts, great source of omega-3s. There was a 2-year randomized trial where they found that people who ate walnuts on a daily basis had measurably lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. Not just a little bit lower, I mean, actually quite substantially lower. This bowl alone gets me close to 15 grams of fiber. I'm halfway to 30 grams. And by the way, I'm aiming for 30 grams. You know why? Because research shows that people who eat around 30 grams of fiber a day have roughly half the odds of having an elevated CRP. That's C-reactive protein, the blood marker that your doctor checks to see whether or not there's inflammation. I'm off to a hell of a good start right now. I'm powering my body. I'm powering my microbes. I got 3 workhorses on 1 spoon. Now the 4th one, fermented food, we're going to come to that one later. Don't you worry. The most overlooked and underrated anti-inflammatory tool that I know of isn't actually a food. It's the walk after the food. So a meta-analysis of light walking after meals, not running, not exercising, just light walking, showed measurably lower post-meal glucose and lower post-meal insulin compared to staying seated. Take just literally 10 minutes. You'll feel lighter and less bloated, and that is a very healthy bang for your buck. But why does that matter for inflammation? Post-meal glucose spikes oxidative stress. Elevated blood sugar is disruptive to the gut barrier. Between oxidative stress and barrier disruption, you are actually feeding chronic low-grade inflammation. But when we actually take that walk, we can control the blood sugar and we are lowering the load on our immune system. So 10 minutes, 15 if you have it, around the block, around the neighborhood. If it's raining, honestly, just do a couple body squats, activate your leg muscles. I'm not running. I'm not really exercising. I'm literally walking, and that's the entire point. Okay, lunch. Pretty basic. Whatever is left over in the fridge. Today, it's chili from 2 nights ago. Could be soup, it could be stew, it doesn't matter. The architecture is the same every single time. There are 2 things that I try to always keep in my fridge. First, freshly cooked beans. We make a big old batch in the Instapot once a week. We cook them with garlic and onions. Mwah, chef's kiss, so good, unlike any other beans that you've had. Lentils, black beans, garbanzos, I could keep going. And second, we also like to keep a whole grain in there. Could be farro, quinoa, brown rice, but basically you cook it once and then you eat it all week. Now here's the part that most people, you're going to be surprised by this. These leftovers, believe it or not, are actually getting healthier for your gut the second time around, which I absolutely love. Starchy foods like legumes and whole grains, they develop resistant starch when they cool down in the fridge. And resistant starch is a wonderful thing for the gut microbiome because not only does it feed your gut microbiome, it feeds different microbes and different parts of your colon than regular fiber does. You are getting something special. But more importantly, taking yesterday's chili or yesterday's soup or stew and adding in some extra beans and putting it all over a bed of whole grains is delicious. And it takes almost no time. I want to give a quick shout out to legumes because I feel like they are the most underrated food in the American diet. They're cheap, they're shelf stable. You get 12 friggin' grams of fiber per cup. I mean, imagine that on your road to 30 grams a day. When you cool them overnight, you're cranking up the resistant starch. Your colon turns into a short chain fatty acid factory. And that is entirely anti-inflammatory. You are calming inflammation. Whenever possible, I want to pair my chili or stew with a small salad. Open up the fridge. What's in there? What veggies we got in here? Oh, we got some carrots, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes. Cool. Let's do that. Oh, and what do we got in terms of seeds and nuts in the pantry? Pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, maybe some walnuts. All right, and then what are we going to add over the top of it? Well, pretty basic. A little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, some lemon, some balsamic vinegar, a little bit of salt and pepper. By the way, I want the good extra virgin because that can be an excellent source of polyphenols. You know that bitter, peppery taste at the back of your throat? That's actually the phenolic compounds doing their work. So embrace the bitter. I want that. All of this is sounding so good, but there is one thing that will make it even better, and that is a slice of whole grain sourdough bread. If I'm reaching for bread, I want it to be sourdough. When I look at the ingredient list, I want it to be the most basic, simple thing in the world. Flour and water. That's pretty much all you need. So what do we got here? 5 to 10 plants in the chili, 5 or 6 in the salad. By the time I finish lunch, the day is well past halfway to 30 grams of fiber. And also, we have really gotten into a wide variety of plants. When lunch is done, what do I have on my mind? How about another walk? Even if it's just 5 minutes, it's like giving your digestion a little helping hand. Everything feels better with a post-meal walk. Let's pause for a second because there's something that I've been kind of hinting at that I need to actually surface and be very direct with you. What makes a day anti-inflammatory isn't one food. It also isn't one supplement. It isn't even one rule. It's variety. Across the day, across the week, across the season. And this goes back to the American Gut Project. Many of you have heard me talk about this. It was the largest open microbiome data set in the world at the time, and they looked at over 10,000 people, and they asked a very simple question: who has the healthiest looking gut microbiome? And the answer was a bit surprising. It wasn't the people who said they're vegan. It wasn't the carnivores. By the way, it actually didn't exist at the time. It was actually the people who were eating the most different varieties of plants. To be specific, 30 or more different plants per week. This is where the rule comes from. Now, 30, it's not really a magic number. Research strongly indicates that the microbiome thrives on variety. Different fibers feed different microbes, different polyphenols, producing different signals, more variety, more resilience. Resilience is what you want. I have just shown you the path to a healthier, thriving gut microbiome. So when you're watching my day and counting the workhorses, the fiber, the polyphenols, the healthy fats, the fermented foods, the secret isn't that those 4 are just showing up. The secret is that those 4 are showing up across many different plants all day, every single time I sit down to eat. Okay, let's get back to the kitchen now. The afternoon, I actually like to keep it pretty light. I'm trying to get things done. I don't want to be bogged down with heavy digestion. I want to be mentally sharp. I want to be high energy. I want to be focused. So I love an afternoon matcha. It's loaded with polyphenols. I would actually argue that matcha is a microbiome drink. If I want a snack, and sometimes I do, it's usually pretty simple. It's a piece of fruit. I love a nice crisp apple, but I also love everything about Sumo oranges, except the price tag. They're pretty expensive. The afternoon is the period of time when everyone else is out there struggling with low energy. And with my anti-inflammatory day, I am surging. This is where big things are happening for me while others are trying to figure out where they can take a nap. Dinner is a burrito bowl. Before anyone tells me, oh, that's not a real dinner. Okay, well, let me walk you through what's actually in there. So we got our bowl and then we got farro on the bottom. This is a whole grain, great source of fiber, incredible protein, magnesium, slow release carbs. And then I put a nice couple spoonfuls of black beans. These are the ones with the garlic and the onions. Maybe I get some cumin in there. This is our legume of the night. And you got to have the fresh salsa. Chopping up and mixing together tomatoes, onions, lime, cilantro, a little jalapeno, or if you're me, you're going to push the boundaries to the point that it's going to make you sweat. The lycopene in tomato gets more available when you cook or chop it. That's one of the things that's really interesting and cool about salsa. And by the way, lycopene is what we call a fat-soluble vitamin, which means that the absorption improves when you combine it with the next ingredient, which is an avocado. So give me at least a half of one on the side. It's giving me healthy fats, more fiber. I mean, honestly, the amount of fiber in an avocado, you would be shocked. A handful of pumpkin seeds on top. We call those pepitas when it's a burrito bowl. Got crunch, zinc, magnesium. Don't forget the fresh toppings. Open up your fridge and literally chop up anything that you think would go with a burrito. Red onions, chives, tomatoes, those are just a few. And then there's the part that 99% of you probably aren't thinking about right now, but I want you to become the 99% that do. Fermented food. Whatever fermented food goes with what you just created, I say go for it. When I have a burrito bowl, I'm thinking about the heat. So I'm reaching for kimchi. And I want it cold because heat kills the live cultures. I'm going to try not to salivate right now, but here we go. Farro, black beans, vegetables, salsa, avocado, pumpkin seeds with a side of kimchi, squeeze a lime over the top. We got a whole bunch of plants on this plate. We got fermented food, we got healthy fat, we got fiber, we got polyphenols. And you know what it comes back to? Variety. Variety is the strategy. The bowl is the delivery system. Before I move on, you may have noticed a pattern during my anti-inflammatory day that comes after each meal. I want to stay physically active. So in the evening, my son and I have a nightly standing basketball challenge. I'm 6'4", I'm a grown man, and he's 9 years old. So you know who's winning these games, right? Okay, never mind, moving on. I tried to finish dinner as early as possible. Now, look, some days it's just not happening, but usually I'm done by 7 o'clock. And the reason is biology. The gut does most of its repair work overnight. The microbiome shifts, the lining of your gut regenerates, the tight junctions are tightening back up. The earlier that the body knows that it's actually done with digestion for the night, the more time it has to get into this recovery mode. And this is really important, even though it can be hard. But I have this rule: no food after dinner. That means no snacks, no candy, certainly no alcohol. I mean, let me be honest, it's not always easy. Just last night, and I am not kidding when I say this, I was so tempted to raid the pantry at 10:30 last night to have some popcorn, sweet, buttery, and delicious. But I reminded myself, my body loves how it feels in the morning when I respect this rule and have no food after dinner. What I will have, I like to have a little pomegranate or tart cherry juice before I go to bed. As we get towards around 9 o'clock, it's time to slow down. The lights need to dim. I really try to limit my bright light exposure, especially from screens. I have noticed, tell me if you've noticed this, if I do laptop work late at night, I don't sleep well. I'm honoring what my body has taught me. And here's a really important thing I want you to know. I try to go to bed at the same time every night. Yes, your body wants sufficient sleep time, but you know what else? Your body wants rhythm. Consistency is actually incredibly powerful when you want an anti-inflammatory life. So just remember, the body, all your cells, and your microbes, they have a clock, and inflammation responds to that clock. That's my day. No supplements, no detoxes. There's no list of foods that I had to give up. Just real food, cooked once, eaten all week. I got the 4 workhorses: fiber, polyphenols, healthy fats, and fermented food. They're showing up across these meals, and I'm honestly not even really thinking about it because this is just the way I eat. I got a little bit of movement after every meal. I've made that one of my patterns. I try to get dinner done early, and I honor that, and then I get a good, consistent bedtime. So this is not just a diet. This is a lifestyle, and it can start for you tomorrow. If everything that you learned here today has resonated with you and you want to go deeper, which I hope that you do, I have something for you: an anti-inflammatory workshop that is completely free, where I walk you through exactly how inflammation works in your body, why it matters, and how to build your own version of the day that you just watched. Again, this is completely free. The link is in the description, and I will see you there. And with that in mind, thank you for being here. I'm Dr. B, and I'll see you next week.